Boxers don't do this. This is why Canelo's not fighting Benavidez. Why would Canelo fight Benavidez, who's relatively unknown, and Benavidez beats him and Benavidez becomes overnight a superstar? That's Canelo's letting Benavidez make a name off of him.
Wait, so you're saying that you're going to make...
If it was up to me, like we keep on saying, we want to see Benavidez. Canelo, hell of a fighter. But my personal opinion, he's ducking Benavidez. You know, that's just my personal opinion. And I'm allowed to speak my mind. That's just what it is. We want to see Benavidez.
David Benavidez has been outspoken since Canelo Alvarez lost to Terence Crawford as the unbeaten super middleweight title holder continues turning up the pressure, claiming that Canelo is avoiding a fight with him out of fear.
Can you not give us Canelo Benavidez? Why? Canelo, why? I do not understand it. You're demanding $200 million? Like, come on, dude. Basically, Canelo doesn't want to give us the good fights. Imagine if Canelo and Benavidez gets made. That's the Super Bowl of boxing. Boxing is on the rise. Canelo, don't screw it up for us. I thought I would never say this, but Canelo's scared. Literally, I thought I would, as a fighter, I know fighters are not scared. But wow, we've been begging Canelo, please, Canelo, please.
Canelo Alvarez chose not to pursue a fight with David Benavidez because he was unhappy with Benavidez's approach and believed the focus was mainly on securing a large payday. Veteran coach Ronnie Shields had predicted before the bout that Terence Crawford would win, and he stood by that view afterward, explaining that Crawford's speed and his skill in switching between orthodox and southpaw stances created problems Canelo could not solve. Shields added that Bud's ability to change angles, advance or pull back, and control distance highlighted small defensive gaps and open chances for him to take control of the action.
By unanimous decision, we got that. And I just thought Crawford was too fast for Canelo. Too many combinations. Canelo doesn't jab anymore. He looks for one shot now. You know, I mean, the end is there for Canelo. And I just think that Crawford was too fast for him. You know, especially in the southpaw position. We all know Canelo have problems with the southpaw. So, you know, and that's why I picked Crawford. I just thought Crawford could be too fast.
Ronnie Shields praised Terence Crawford for carrying out an almost perfect strategy, staying calm, picking his moments, and capitalizing on every mistake Canelo Alvarez made, saying it was a masterclass in tactics and ring awareness, exactly as he had predicted before the fight. And he even suggested Canelo might think about retiring because years of elite-level battles appear to have worn him down. Oscar de la Hoya, however, shared a different perspective, explaining that the choice rests entirely with Canelo and that he should step away only if he personally feels he has reached his limit, while also being careful about future opponents. De la Hoya added that he sees Crawford as a special talent gifted at reading styles and countering effectively, calling the performance overwhelming in its brilliance and saying it reminded him why Crawford is viewed as one of the most versatile and intelligent fighters in boxing.
Crawford is older than Canelo, so we can't use the excuse that he's older, right? We can't use the excuse that, oh, well, you know, he moved around too much. Well, it's your job to figure him out, right? Just like Chavez would figure out a fighter, just like I would figure out a fighter, just like any real great fighter can figure styles out. That's your job. I think Crawford did a tremendous job. Kudos to him. Sky's the limit for Crawford, and I really don't know where Canelo goes.
Oscar de la Hoya continued sharing his thoughts about what comes next for Canelo Alvarez after the historic result, while also evaluating the road ahead for Terence Crawford, noting that Crawford's confidence stands out and could drive him toward even bigger challenges. He said Crawford looks fully comfortable competing at super middleweight and sees no strong reason for him to drop back to 150, for though a major opportunity might tempt him to consider a move to 160. De la Hoya added that the matchup he finds most compelling right now would be against Vergil Ortiz Jr., which he believes would deliver excitement, action, and the level of intrigue that fits Crawford's current stature.
And Crawford at 160, imagine that. Would be incredible. So there's a good possibility that Crawford will stay at 168. Most likely go down to 160. I don't think he's going to touch 154. I think he'll stay at 160 eventually and try to find the biggest fights possible. And the biggest fight for him would be a Verdor.
Rolando Romero praised the showing from Terence Crawford in the September 13th main event against Canelo Alvarez, saying it takes something special to defeat a fighter like Canelo, and that Crawford proved he has that quality. He noted the early rounds were tightly contested, with Canelo pressing forward and keeping it close, but explained that as the bout continued, Crawford steadily took over, setting the pace, landing the cleaner punches, and claiming rounds one after another. Romero added that Bud's ability to adjust while facing a top-level opponent shows why many now place him among the greatest fighters ever, calling the achievement extraordinary and almost hard to believe.
I mean, that performance did something really special for me.
Yeah?
Yeah, a lot more special than what probably anyone else is probably thinking, honestly. I didn't expect Crawford to be that big.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't expect Crawford to be that big, but Canelo did good the first few rounds, first like all the way up like to round 4, and then that's when Crawford took over, So I mean, the second half of the fight though, it was all Crawford. There was no question about it.
Talk has circulated that Terence Crawford is cautious about facing David Benavidez, and some observers say his stance mirrors that of Canelo Alvarez, who lost his titles after being beaten by Crawford. Following that defeat, Benavidez publicly called out Canelo, while a former champion even suggested Canelo should retire. Online discussions also highlighted Crawford's own comments, where he acknowledged Benavidez is a very large opponent, yet said he is not refusing the fight, while noting that size was a factor in his bout with Canelo, since Benavidez stands around 1.8 meters and can weigh close to 90 kilos. Dan Rafael supported the view shared by Rolando Romero, explaining that the early rounds between Canelo and Crawford were intense and competitive, but that Crawford followed a precise strategy and gradually outperformed the naturally bigger and more seasoned champion. Rafael praised Crawford's patience, focus, and long-term planning, and reminded fans that before the match, many believed Canelo's size, strength, and title experience would be impossible obstacles, yet Crawford turned that challenge into a clear victory through disciplined preparation and determination, which is why many now see him as one of the most complete champions in boxing.
I thought he did a great job. I thought it was close. I had Canelo ahead in the early going, but I thought Crawford did an amazing job closing that fight down in the last few rounds, where he really started to back the supposed bigger guy up, although for me, they looked about the same size. But that was a brilliant performance, and what can you say? I mean, you got to give him his credit. He created a lot of history. He dreamt this fight. He willed it to happen. A lot of people, not me, but a lot of people laughed at him, said, forget about it, no chance against a bigger guy like that. But he showed.
Dan Rafael later expanded on his analysis, explaining that although a rematch between Canelo Alvarez and Terence Crawford would attract massive attention, it may not be the smartest move for either fighter right now. He suggested both should instead pursue high-stakes matchups better suited to their current positions and long-term career goals. For Canelo, Rafael advised carefully weighing the risks and rewards before deciding whether to fight again, and if so, against whom. As for Crawford, he noted that the historic victory has elevated his profile to such a level that every elite contender will be calling him out. Because of that, Rafael stressed that Crawford must be selective, judging each opportunity by division, event magnitude, and the titles potentially on the line.
The winner of Eubank, and then the Hamza Shiraz. I mean, those types of names. He's got mandatories. Billy got the draw tonight in a great fight. There's other fighters that have belts and interim belts and blah, blah, blah. So, nobody's going to rush Terence Crawford into his next fight. They'll take his time, and, whatever the next fight is, it's going to be a big one because, his name is even greater now than what happened going into this fight for him. So he beats Canelo Alvarez, it becomes a much...
Lois Schofield had firmly predicted that Canelo Alvarez would win on September 13th, but after the bout, he admitted he was stunned by how completely Terence Crawford took control. He said he expected a classic performance from the Mexican star, yet what he witnessed instead was a version that did not deliver. For the first time, he began to question whether retirement could be close for Canelo. While reviewing the match, he explained that Crawford outclassed him in speed, timing, and total command of the ring. Crawford built a large lead and secured a decisive win. Even so, he added that he hopes Canelo continues fighting regroups and returns strong so fans can once again see the champion they remember.
I was hurt. I ain't gonna lie, because I've been a fan of Canelo since I was a kid. So my heart, a tear almost came on my I ain't gonna lie, because it felt like, that Canelo's done. But I just think he was a little off that night. I think he can, make a big comeback. But to Crawford, man, he's the greatest of this era. Got to give it to him. Greatest of this era. Nobody's ever done that before. 3-time undisputed. So you got to take your hats off to Crawford. And I was just shocked that he was able to just dismantle Canelo like that, even with the size difference. That just goes to show.
Canelo Alvarez has built a record that represents the model of a modern boxing icon, with a career shaped by facing top opponents, earning global pay-per-view fame, and winning world titles in 4 weight classes. He has shown the ability to adjust against almost any style while delivering sharp counter shots. From his early rise as a teenager in Mexico to major wins over legends like Miguel Cotto and Sergey Kovalev, he grew into an international star and one of the sport's most valuable attractions. His steady success against elite fighters was clear even back in 2012 when Shane Mosley shared the ring with the young Canelo and said it felt like facing someone more seasoned than himself. Mosley praised his raw power, his exact timing, and his patience, and said he could already see signs of a future pound-for-pound king. The journey of Canelo from rising talent to one of boxing's most celebrated champions has been marked by calm confidence, like a veteran, which was visible even then.
Young kid, I think he was 21, 22 years old. He had a lot of experience, I should say. He had a lot of boxing experience at his age.
40 fights?
Huh?
He had 40 or 50 fights at that point, right?
40, 50 fights, but not just that. I'm talking about experience as far as knowledge about being the real, experience. Like veteran experience. Like he knew how to counter, he knew how to block and counter, do different things. So it wasn't like he was just an ordinary fighter. And I was like, and fighting him, I'm like, wow. He actually knows how to get away from stuff. He knows how to counter. He knows how to trick shots up. He knows how to do.
Canelo Alvarez showed his toughness and champion mindset during his evenly fought battles with Gennady Golovkin, which stand among his biggest feats. He also made history by beating Caleb Plant to claim every major belt and become the first undisputed super middleweight king. Beyond titles, he repeatedly accepted risky fights in different divisions and never avoided pressure moments. His path represents skill, stamina, and pride as he keeps competing. It blends the warrior spirit linked to Mexican boxing with elite technique. These milestones set him apart as one of the finest fighters of his era. After his win, Terence Crawford handing the belt back showed how much respect he commands in boxing. David Benavidez built a strong reputation in the super middleweight division, and his 2019 win over Anthony Dirrell marked a turning point in his journey. With a 9th-round stoppage against the season champion, he captured the WBC title again and spoke afterward with calm confidence, knowing he belonged among the best in the world. Regaining the belt at just 22, he called the moment a dream realized and stressed how much the title meant to him. He credited Dirrell's constant pressure and crisp combinations for testing him and pushing the fight's intensity round after round. He pointed to that night as proof of his growth and dedication, showing that his youth's strength, focus, and discipline made him the fighter to beat at 168.
Words can't explain how good I feel. I said I was going to get in here. I was going to win the belt again. Like I said, it was a hard fight. My Dirrell was trying to catch me all night. He was trying to counter me when I would step in. But we're willing to take the chances, and he didn't catch me at all. It was a hard fight, but my dreams come true. Second time fighting on pay-per-view. All my people out there came out to support. So man, it's an amazing feeling. I just can't wait to get back in there again and defend my.